Hai, welcome to Kremés podcast.
Podcast yang paling receh and garing, but maybe informative too, depending on the day.
I'm T.
And I'm A.
Semoga podcast ini bisa nemenin lo.
And hope you enjoy the episode. Halo guys, welcome back to another episode of Kremés Podcast. Jadi kalau misalnya kalian belum tahu atau mungkin kalian juga tahu, me and T suka banget sama yang namanya nonton. Jadi kita suka nonton TV show, film, YouTube, Netflix, segala macam deh. Pokoknya kita suka salah satu orang yang suka-suka nonton gitu kan. Nah tapi ketika lagi ngobrol sama T, gue nyadar ada beberapa movie yang gue nonton ulang tuh kayak kerasa beda gitu sama yang gue nonton pas gue kecil. Nah ini mungkin juga karena kita nontonnya dulu banget kan, jadi kayak udah lupa gitu, atau misalnya kayak kita just don't think about it. Tapi juga at the same time I realized that those scenes sometimes is because Indonesia is so big about censorship. Jadi kan kita tahu semua movie itu kan ada classification-nya ya. Jadi ada yang general, PG-13, R, MA 15+, and like mature adult kind of situation, right? Or like in Indo mungkin kayak kalian taunya sebagai SU semua usia, terus kayak I forgot the rest of the names, tapi kayak ada yang kalau PG-13 berarti kan harus ada parents guidance above 13 years old kind of situation, right? Jadi sekarang ngobrol, me and T jadi penasaran what basically I'm curious of what T thinks about censorship and classification and stuff like that. So first of all, I would like to have the conversation with you. Do you think classification have worked so far? Kayak sekarang kan semua movie pasti ada kan PG-13 apa gitu. Kata lu udah diimplement gak? Atau misalnya orang tuh ngikutin gak? Atau has it been working? Or do you think it's just like formality? Atau misalnya, what are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, no, I think this is an interesting topic here because I think leading up to this recording, obviously, A was telling me about a couple of movies that she's watched, and obviously, in comparison to like when she watched it in Indo and when she watched the same movie in Aussie, because of censorship rules in Indo, it's like certain scenes like get cut, just like it's cut so obviously that it's like, oh, it's probably like not a glitch on my TV, it's like because it was censored kind of thing. And I guess like, when you grow up, you begin to realize the reasons why they do that. I think it's like, on one hand, it's like the intent is good, right? Because like obviously Indokan, it's like a majorly Muslim country, and Muslim kan has like certain laws and restrictions and sort of ethics and Sharia laws gitu kan juga with regards to, for example, the most obvious one, sex scenes, or like just like scenes that display certain levels of intimate sort of activity or like vulgarity as well, because those things are meant to be only experienced in private between like husband wife or something gitu kan, and it's not meant to be something that's publicly displayed in like a Muslim sense, but I think also in like a general sort of like public common sense as well. But I think it is just taken up a notch. So I think to an extent it's good. But I think also like, for me, like I get it, like okay, it's cut because it's like cut as well, right? But normally, because like since I was only in Indo when I was like chill, my parents would probably not let me even watch any movies that, even though they were censored, they won't let me watch it anyway, because it's like, why would you need to watch it gitu kan? Whereas like I also feel that maybe the fact that it is cut is, makes that sense that it's like, oh, it's forbidden gitu kan. Jadi kayak it makes it a bit tempting. It makes it more enticing for people to like, whatever, like go into illegal sites and like whatever, like watch porn or something. I don't know. But like, it just sort of gives that, I guess, added layer that it's like, oh, because it's like censored, it makes that sensasi that it's like, wow, gitu kan, like it's like super super like secret and like not illegal, but like, like dodgy gitu. I think that's in a way what has come out of it gitu. There is actually like an interesting, it's like, I'm going a bit on a tangent here, but for some reason I had to learn about this book when I was in high school di Jakarta the book is called Jakarta Underground, and it's literally about like all of the, you know, the not so great stuff that's happening, like, you know, in the black market, or like in at night, and all, like, you know, basically all the illegal dodgy stuff that happens, because, you know, obviously in the daytime, and, you know, it's against the rules, it's against the laws of Indonesia to, you know, have sexual scenes in DVDs, or like, you know, have prostitutes and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's an interesting, you know, like, it was just like it was analyzing the society, and sort of like how society is built because of certain rules and certain censorship in place. It makes people do kind of like sneaky things behind closed doors and stuff. But that's, I guess, just my take on it. I think while here we do have classifications, right? We have like G, PG, M, MA 15 plus, R 18 plus, that kind of thing. And I think because Aussie is more of like a westernized culture, at least they put the rules in, at least they have that as a disclaimer. They're like, oh, BTW, this movie is rated MA 15 plus. So like those people who are under 15 need to watch it with an adult. But they don't restrict it that like you definitely can't watch it. Like they will still, you know, let you watch it. It's just kind of like up to you. And if you're still a minor, it's, I guess, ultimately your parents' decision whether or not to allow you to watch it or not, kind of thing. So I think it's more like the way that they go about that rule. So it's like, instead of completely saying, no, we're gonna censor the movie, nobody can see that scene, in Australia it's more like, okay, we'll just have this classification, we'll put the disclaimer, we'll put the warning, so at least they are warned, and if they go ahead and do it and they have the you know, some negative impacts or negative consequences as a result, that's not our problem anymore, because we've already given you the warning, kind of thing, you know, that attitude. What's your take on that?
Well, I think, okay, like personally, I haven't think of it as much as you, like the way that you do, like it's just, jujur aja kayak gue nggak pernah mikir kayak korelasinya dengan kayak ya people nonton film biru apa segala macam gitu, nggak sampai ke situ gitu. Maksudnya kayak kalau gue sih lebih ke apa, kayak gimana ya, maksudnya gue sih lebih pro gimana ya, soalnya gini, misalnya kan kayak dulu kan kita ada CSI gitu-gitu kan, nah itu kan PG-13 kan, nah literally gue bakal nonton kalau misalnya nunggu orang tua gue gitu loh, orang tua gue ada deket gue baru nonton gitu. Tapi at the same time gimana ya, kayak mungkin ini tergantung anak dan tergantung family-nya juga gitu. Misalnya kayak mungkin juga kan kita juga nggak tahu, misalnya aturannya sama gitu, misalnya kayak orang tuanya bilang oke, kamu boleh nonton, yang penting ada papa mama ya gitu. Mungkin aja anaknya bisa kayak gue yang beneran nunggu, oh ya udah kalau gitu berarti bukannya dilarang kan, gue bisa nonton pokoknya selama ada orang tua gue gitu. Tapi ada juga yang kayak mungkin malah itu ngebuat mereka malah nonton diam-diam gitu loh, nggak mau, harus nunggu dari mami, aku mau nonton diam-diam gitu kan. Like I think there is still like depends on the person itself gitu. Tapi ya jujur aja, kalau misalnya ditanyain ya mungkin selama ini kalau menurut gue pribadi ya, yang gue lihat classification has work sih. Maksudnya kayak karena di gimana ya, maksudnya banyak juga temen gue yang udah nonton film kayak 18 plus when they're not even 18 yet gitu. Tapi gak necessarily make them totally different person gitu loh. Nggak ya kayak yang bikin mereka jadinya oh gini enggak gitu. Tapi kan cuman lebih dikit aja gitu orang yang nonton di saat itu gitu. Tapi kan sekarang kita ngomongin 18 plus itu kan nggak semuanya because of the scenes gitu kan. Kadang juga misalnya kayak
temanya lebih kayak mature gitu.
Murder, atau enggak kayak mental health, atau kalau enggak kayak there will be blood, there will be violence, kayak strong words, kayak gitu. Jadi like those things all cooperate into the classification gitu. Jujur aja sih pribadi gue lebih suka classification daripada censorship, because sometimes it might cut out the story of the movie gitu loh. Dan kayak jujur aja dengan movie-movie yang misalnya gue nonton, kadang mungkin kayak scene-nya tuh nggak sampai kelihatan atau nggak sampai gimana gitu, tapi udah ke-cut gitu loh, karena dianggapnya nggak boleh gini. Padahal itu tuh ada arti ceritanya, ada kayak misalnya film itu tuh it makes sense gitu loh why they put that scene there gitu kan.
Yeah.
Dan juga ada kayak beberapa yang misalnya kayak dulu lah misalnya kita film Deadpool kan. Deadpool itu lebih mungkin ke kekerasan atau violence atau lebih kayak blood gitu kan. Tapi the rating is so high. I think it was an R because of the swearing and stuff like that gitu kan.
Yeah.
Tapi like that makes it still able for us to watch it because it's just an R movie, you know, like you choose to watch it, that's your own kayak tanggung jawab lu lah gitu. Tapi nggak nyetopin kita dari nonton film itu gitu. Dan kalau misalnya film itu nggak bisa masuk ke negara, misalnya kayak nggak tahu waktu itu Deadpool masuk Indo apa enggak, tapi kan kayak pasti kan itu kalau misalnya kebayang lah film Deadpool yang kayak swear a lot tapi kayak di cut cuma gara-gara swearingnya, it wouldn't make sense gitu loh, kayak movie-nya bakal nggak nyambung gitu. Padahal itu cuman swearing gitu, bukannya swearing bagus ya, tapi maksudnya kayak ya kalau misalnya kalian tinggal di sini, you guys know how much people swear. Like it's not that big of a deal unless they're swearing at you gitu loh. Nah itu baru mereka did something gitu kan. Tapi kadang orang di sini jatuh aja juga bisa say the F word atau enggak kayak you know when they get something bad news and stuff like that, they will say the SHIT and stuff like that. You know kayak like it's just day-to-day stuff for them gitu kan. Jadi for me it's like that.
I think it's an interesting take on the culture as well, hey.
Yeah, benar.
Because like to your point, right? Like kalau di sini kan orang cuman jatuh sedikit gitu udah kayak langsung kayak swearing gitu kan. Walaupun kayak you know, it's not like, you know, technically the swear words is meant to express something that's very like, you know, a very sort of like high level exclamation, I guess, but it's kind of used.
Tapi juga mereka nggak mean apa-apa gitu.
True, exactly. I think it's like it's the way swear words are used, I guess, in Australia. It's just sort of put into every common day, this like conversation now as well. So it's like, I think in this context, different, right? I mean, different countries, in this case Indo and Aussie, have different values and have different like whatever, you know, sort of, you know, opinions towards it. Tapi kalau di sini memang mereka cuma kasih warning, tapi juga mereka masih kasih freedom of choice, right? Jadi kayak kalau lu mau nonton ya silakan nonton, tapi we've warned you that there's gonna be this.
Yeah, benar. Jadi itu antara kita.
Yeah, exactly. It is just up to you to be mature enough, or your parents to be mature enough to make the decision whether or not to let you watch it. And if the movie does have a lot of swear words, then it's just up to you to, you know, filter that yourself and process it and make sure that you don't use that much in a real setting, because you're not in a movie, right? Your life is not a movie. In this context, you are not a superhero like Deadpool, and you're not like doing all the things that Deadpool is doing gitu on a daily basis gitu kan. So it's like, I don't know, it's an interesting context, I think.
Yeah, menurut gue interesting sih, tapi maksudnya kayak ya emang gimana ya, kayak gue satu sisi kayak ada beberapa hal yang bagus tentang kayak Indonesia dan kayak kultur budaya Asia gitu, dengan gimana kayak misalnya contoh kayak ini mungkin lebih ke kalau misalnya kita nonton film apa selalu pasti kan kayak taat pada orang tua, kayak kita bersilaturahmi, kita sopan santun, kayak gitu-gitu semua tuh baik, dan emang even film Indonesia pun menerapkan itu gitu, dan itu tuh bagus gitu, maksudnya karena kayak ya emang kita harus belajar itu gitu kan. Tapi at the same time kita juga mungkin hal-hal itu nggak ada di Western movies gitu kan, tapi at the same time kita jangan main cut gitu loh. Kalau misalnya menurut gue lebih ke kapan kita bisa bertumbuh kalau misalnya kita nggak dikasih kayak story from both sides gitu loh. Kalau misalnya kita tahu, kita nonton nih, terus kita kayak, oh iya ya, kita juga ngerti gitu, ini anak bandel banget, kayak gue nggak mau kayak gitu nih gitu kan, atau nggak kayak ya apa, we have our own apa ya, kayak our own mind to be able to kayak bisa tahu mana yang benar mana yang enggak gitu loh. Dan itu ya emang up to the parents juga, bener kata lu gitu, karena maksudnya ya bisa juga gitu, misalnya mereka main nonton gitu kan, terus habis itu mereka kayak start swearing and stuff like that gitu, kayak oh because gara-gara nonton film ini nih anak aku jadi suka kayak gini gitu. Yeah, that does happen in real life. It doesn't saying that it doesn't, but you shouldn't cut out everything for the rest of the people just because of this one person or two person kind of situation gitu. Dan menurut gue apalagi di today's generation ya, misalnya kayak nggak tahu sih, kalau kata dengar sih katanya banyak juga kayak Netflix stand gitu-gitu udah pada di-block di Indo. Jadi mereka harus kayak nonton Indonesian version kayak Cinemax Indo or whatever gitu. Kayak they cannot live stream anymore. They have to use VPN in order to subscribe to Netflix and stuff like that. So I was like, that's just a bit stupid gitu loh. Kayak maksudnya, like sorry to say, but like you're literally limiting your citizen in regards to this gitu. Karena dengannya nonton, jujur aja buat gue pribadi ya, dengan gue nonton kayak CSI, gue nonton film-film zaman dulu, like I learn more about history, I learn more about crime scene investigator, you know, like I learn so much more about those topics because I watch a movie about it. And like, not gonna lie, the reason I want to do this and that, like maths and stuff like that, was because what I watch on the TV. And especially now with a lot of movies touching on mental health, touching on like how to be yourself, like all those feel-good movies, it actually helps you as well, you know what I mean? And I think like that's what yang gue sayangin aja gitu. Kalau misalnya di Indo apa-apa selalu di sensor, ya mungkin bakal menghambat atau kayak creating a wall between the people to be able to watch this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, of course you can always watch YouTube and stuff like that, but I don't know how far the censorship go, like how far it is actually censored. But for me personally, some of the stuff is been good so far. Kayak misalnya contoh YouTube, kalau misalnya there are certain video that is like 18 plus, they will not let you watch it unless you log in and said that you are 18 plus, so that like that's already hinder a lot of people from doing it. And I guess those that are sites that is not good for young children, even not good for adults in general right now either way, tapi at least it's like it's hard to find, and they will require, like they have law that will like kind of like not help them, but you know there's law that like you need to be certain age in order to access this website, you need to be blah 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 blah, like you can't just access it on incognito and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, no, that's true. I think like it's all valid, and I think it's an interesting debate because it's like I said in the beginning, while the intent is good, it can backfire, right? Because if you start restricting everyone, if you start nipping and like cutting, like and really restricting everything, people are gonna end up doing sneaky stuff, you know, like behind everyone's like behind the backs of like the police or like, you know, whatever. And that's how like illegal trading is still so prevalent in Indonesia, gitu kan, and how that like there's black market everywhere, gitu kan. Like let's there's no doubt about that, gitu. But even like mainstream media, you know how like, you know, we get a lot of Western films coming into Indo, and obviously they're reviewed by the KPI kan, I think that's what it's called, like the censorship board. They get reviewed for everything, and then they get censored and appropriately whatever before it gets broadcasted into TV or into movies. Even like Game of Thrones, like Game of Thrones is like something that, you know, obviously like there's just so many different like violence and swearing and sexual scenes and everything. I think it's like they end up cutting a whole bunch of it that, like to your point, it won't kind of make sense anymore if they keep cutting it. And I think there was like an article that I read di Jakarta Post 2 tahun lalu lah gitu, when Netflix and YouTube obviously like started growing and becoming like a big thing, like, you know, all these streaming services. The Indonesian government were trying to obviously, you know, put a big censorship sort of policy in place, and people were basically signing a big petition like, why does this have to happen? Because that's going to impact, you know, the flow of the story or people's overall enjoyment of the movie, maybe. So a whole bunch of things. And it's not just sexual stuff, right? It's like you said, it's like violence, it's the gore, it's even actions of human beings yang kayak gak bener gitu, that just like go against like, you know, cultural values that the Indonesian society is like trying to uphold. Even like people's behavior sometimes gets cut in scenes because it's not like virtuous, you know? It's not like right, and they don't want people to like get too influenced by that. But like quickly to touch on this whole point, I guess I don't mean to like argue on the fact, but do you think that, for example, like here, do you think the rate of like teen pregnancy, the rate of juvenile criminals, is that a word? But like, you know, like young youth criminals is like influenced by Like, as in, like, all of that
I
stuff
think
is,
that
I
would
guess,
be
like
a bit
a
of a
precursor
stretch,
to
though.
to allowing, you know, young people to have that freedom to watch movies because of the classification and not necessarily the censorship.
No, but I think okay, not gonna lie, but I think that's a bit of a stretch though. Like if you combine those two together, cause like I bet there's so many other things that like collaboratively to it,
Yeah.
like that apa kayak contribute to it.
Yeah.
Jadi I wouldn't be able to answer that question because I think it's just there's so much more and like you know there's different culture and stuff like that
Yeah.
and like different approach that people do and stuff like in here mungkin the pregnancy outside of marriage is not so much of a problem. It's just you know like they can still get married after they have kids and then also like at the same time like it does some people even here doesn't want to get married even though they have kids together. Like there are so many other like culture differences that will combine to it. I would not necessarily correlate it together with movies and censorship and classification though. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's true. Like, it's, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, there's so many different factors that contribute to that. So we can't just, like, you know, place, you know, watching movies and TV as the main reason why, right? So I think it's like, I don't know, it's like, it's an interesting debate. I don't have, you know, a definite, like, yes or no, which one's the better one. But yeah, no, it was definitely an interesting discussion, and I'm keen to hear other people's opinion on it as well. So like those di Indo, kayak kalian pikirnya gimana gitu tentang censorship for movies and TV, but also a whole bunch of other things, right? Like even liquor has to go through like a certain what is it, like a liquor license of some kind, I think, if you export liquor into Indo. So like I'd be keen to hear your perspective on that one as well, or just even like, do you find it that it's like good or bad, or like, you know, I don't know, like you think it could be improved, and how about like, you know, us here in Australia when it comes to this more liberal, I guess, more flexible, more free way of choosing what we watch and what our kinds of entertainment we provide to both ourselves but also potentially our children. Because I mean, nyokap gue ya sering kali kayak lihat kayak she would be watching like an action movie with my sister who's like now like in her late teens approaching her 20s, so they would be watching like a kind of like MA 15 plus action movie, and they would see like young parents with their like 5-year-old sons watching it too. So like sometimes there's a whole debate where it's like, okay, maybe the son is still too young to understand anything and they need to just keep him in the theater jadi dia nggak nangis atau apa gitu kan. But at the same time, like, is that gonna dampak his growth in future, like, you know, like, and to what extent as well will that impact his development, you know? So it's like a big, I don't know, it's an interesting question, and keen to get your perspective on it and others' perspective on it as well.
Yeah, I think cause like balik lagi kan kalau di sini lebih ke tanggung jawab keluarga masing-masing ya. Jadi kayak ya kita jangan langsung cut apa kayak jangan langsung judge mereka juga. Dan satu sisi kayak ya buat gue sih lebih ke selama mereka nggak ngerusakin the experience of other people, it should be fine gitu. Yang gue sebel kalau misalnya udah ditulis nih MA 15 plus terus mereka bawa anak umur 5 tahunnya ke dalam teaternya, terus mereka komplain gitu sama movie-nya, ini kenapa ya movie-nya apa jelek banget nih soalnya ada adegan gini, anak saya kan umur 5 tahun kok gini-gini. Nah itu sih salah lunya gitu loh, kayak just, you know, get yourself together, like, you know, don't be why are you doing that, why are you like ruining other people's movie when it's your fault that you bring your child to the movie where you know it's already 15 plus kind of situation. Jadi orang malah lebih kesel sama dianya gitu. Dan sampai kayak kemarin aja misalnya balik lagi ke film Deadpool gitu, like literally Ryan Reynolds was like, oh guys, like, can you, if you have a baby or if you have a small kid, please don't bring them to the theater, like don't ruin the experience for other people just because you bring your kids in, you know what I mean? Because it's true, like the whole point of classification is for you to know what's gonna be in a movie. So like it's up to you, but don't come back and complain afterwards if it's like if you're the one that doing it wrong. So I think that's what really need to be addressed. Like kita di sini nggak bilang kayak Australia better than Indo or stuff like that. No, it's not about that. It's just between censorship and classification, which one is better and which one we we kind of like want more. Like I genuinely rather have classification and it's up to me to like look away or stuff like that compared to like having it already censored to me and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, karena lebih up forward aja. Dan jujur aja misalnya sampai sekarang pun kalau misalnya gue nonton film yang kayak thriller and stuff like that, ada kekerasan atau ada adegan yang I just don't think I wanna watch it, I can just literally look away. Like doesn't matter if it's in a movie theater or something like that, like me and my sisters would just look away and look at each other and then wait until they start talking again, or like wait until you know that it's not the scene anymore, and when you just look back in. Like that's it, that's as simple as that gitu loh.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I think obviously it takes a certain level of maturity, right? To be able to be like, nah, this is not good for me. I'll look away for my, for my benefit in the future, right? It's it's interesting because some people on the flip side might be like, oh, this is tempting because this is stuff that my parents won't let me see gitu kan, so malahan they go watch because it's like, they're trying to like, again, the whole like sneakiness factor to it, because originally it was said no, you can't watch this, like they had that restriction set in place and people start getting a bit rebellious for it. But still, it's a very interesting topic, hey, and I think, I don't know, like we'll let our listeners maybe have a think about it and let us know if you've got any sort of comments to add. Let us feel free to share, and we'd be keen to sort of like, come back to this maybe if it's something that's worth, reopening.
It is quite a really deep topic, and like, like it has so many connection to other things as well, but ya di sini sih kita cuman kayak kemarin baru nonton beberapa movie dan kayak realize kayak perbedaannya dari film yang kita like the movie that we remember back in Indo. Terus kayak kita mikir kayak apakah itu censorship atau cuma karena kita waktu itu kecil dan kita lupa gitu loh. Oh, lupa nonton film ini, udah lupa ya, udah kelamaan gak nonton gitu. Ya tapi juga bear in mind kita emang udah kayak like about 10 years here or more, dan juga kita mungkin kayak waktu gue di Indo pun gue nonton Disney Channel, gue nonton AXN, gue nonton film-film barat juga gitu. Jadi mungkin our like point of view is already like more westernized compared to like, Indonesian-ish or Asian-ish. Tapi ya soalnya kalau menurut gue sih harusnya fair aja gitu. Soalnya kayak K-drama juga ada kok kissing scene gitu, dan Indonesian movie juga ada kissing scene, beberapa movie gitu loh. Then why is that okay when like why some movies are not okay, kayak bias banget gitu. Jadi mungkin we just wanna know like if anyone, even like if you guys listening know the behind story or atau lebih familiar and lebih professional in this bidang daripada kita, please let us know because we wanna know too, and maybe we could include it in our next episode buat clarification atau buat kayak this is what we do after we research and what's the story behind it and stuff like that. But yeah, hope you guys like this episode. It is a bit of a deep and a bit of like, what is actually going on kind of question. But hope you guys love this episode and let us know what you think about it, and message us, DM us, reply to this episode as well on Instagram or YouTube. We'd love to always hear your point of view. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
See you guys.
Thank you for listening. Jangan lupa like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with your friends.
I'd love to hear from you. Please reach out with your comments, stories, and even questions on what we should talk about. See you in the next episode.
Bye. Dah.